Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Feeling great, Mike. You know, we've got quite the match here between Spawn.496 and Lilgun. Lilgun likely to be the favorites coming through. You know, they got demoted from Upper Div or Div 1 last time around. They've been doing great here in Div 2, so it looks like they're on a pretty good run to kind of build themselves up back to Div 1. Let's see if they can kind of maintain that pace. They did drop a series, but that was up against Polaris, another one of the favorites. So we'll see if they can beat out 496, who are currently in the bottom 2 right now, facing relegation. Spawn.496 need to start finding those win marks, and they're in a very precarious spot. So this match counts for a lot for Spawn.496, and if they don't find a win, I think it's going to look really likely that Spawn.496 might be facing relegation at the end, Mike.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team pick.
Admiral Tonka.
Ten seconds remaining.
It's really open for Spawn.496 and flexing that hero around.
5 seconds
I think we
remaining.
have seen Learn play that a couple of times in mid. Trying to recall if we've seen Ghost do it before, maybe in his time in Mystery. I don't recall, but it is a possibility. And I think support Kunkka is the least likely because we just haven't seen much of it at all. Like that kind of died maybe
Radiant
2-3 years ago. It's just not been coming back up. Still, lots of ways to flex that Kunkka around. I think it's very likely it's Learn, but could be Ghost on safe. And Lilgun, they just get into it. They go into the Broodmother along with a Bane, right? There is that Kunkka already there for Spawn.496 to deal with a Broodmother, as we did see yesterday in the Div 1 games. Tidebringer just tends to make short work of those Broodlings, so remaining. You already kind of have a counter on Spawn.496, but for Lilgun it might not matter. This is something they're very comfy remaining. With. They run it mid, they run it safe, they run it offlane, they run it in a variety of roles across pretty much most of their players. So it's fairly open for Lilgun, but I do believe that should be our X423 hero. It's still fairly open. They can kind of shift it around, but it's the Broodmother and it's Lilgun. This is something they're known for, so we'll see if they can make use of it, Mike.
Ten seconds remaining. 5
it might be a factor of team cohesion. I think we've been seeing that for a lot of teams, that being the deciding factor. How well they gel together as 5, how well they how well they execute as a team. And for Spawn.496, this team has gone through so many iterations. Now, I remember the old stack with 456, with Bombi, with Yassi, and they've shifted out a lot of those players. They've got Ohio, who was in one iteration of Spawn.496 earlier on as well. They grab in Learn. They've got Red, Ghost, Chao Bon Bon, who did rename himself. So it feels like the team is still working that out,
5
and I think
seconds
specifically
remaining.
with Spawn.496, even in the past when they bring outside players into this Vietnamese stack, it almost always felt like comps might have been a persistent issue, just because there's that big language barrier with having these Vietnamese players who are probably more comfy in Vietnamese having to now communicate in English, and you've got Malaysian players in as well, so that's a common mode of communication. It can be tough to just make those snap calls, to get organized as a team, to get your thoughts together. So I think that's one big factor for Spawn.496, something that can be fixed as the season goes on, as the tour goes on, but there's not much of the tour left. We've got to see if Spawn.496 can kind of
Dire
accelerate
team
that
back.
bonding together here, Mike. Hmm.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team pick.
Hmm. Yeah. Yep.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Feels likely. Again, I don't recall Ghost playing it much on his time in Team Mystery and in the past few games for Spawn.496. But Pause 1 Kunkka has been popping off, right? Like, it's been rising in popularity. That could be something that Ghost has been practicing. So I think it's fairly safe to throw it mid, throw it safe. There is still that flex on hand, though. And considering Lilgun, they do love running mid Brood anyway for X423. So they could just kind of put it mid to match up against the Brood Mother. That lane matchup we've seen work out before. And Spawn.496 are really clumping up in ways of keeping this Brood contained. They've got the Mars now as well. So their offlane has that dual stun lane with the Earth Spike into Spear. They've got the Arena to hold the Brood Mother back as well to cut her off from the rest of the team. And there's some pretty good wave clear on the Mars as well, especially once you get your Ag Shard with a burn on the Spear. You can kind of make short work of those
5
Spiderlings
seconds
before
remaining.
the pipe of Insight comes out from Brood. So Spawn.496 are kind of focusing in on that Brood pick, and they've also cleared out a lot of Lilgun's comfort picks. They clear out the Sancta TTA, they clear out the OD that could come out mid as well for X423. They've been really flex with that, and they clear out the Lifestealer as well. So leaving very few options for Lilgun to scale from the safe lane now with his tempo control Brood. I'm keen to see what Lilgun does to adjust with that. There are still a couple of key picks that we know Lilgun love. They still have a Lycan option if they want to go into it, and that could play into the push strat that they've got with a Brood here. Hmm. Oh, yeah.
Radiant team pick.
I worry about a
What's your
Lycan pick. If they are thinking of a Lycan down the line, it's already countered by Mars because Arena is also an issue for the hero. They go to Pangolier instead, which gives him some team fight coming out from Lilgun. So this is sort of reminiscent almost of that draft from Talon from game 1, right? They had Bane, they had Pango.
Remaining.
The good news here for Lilgun is that Spawn.496 doesn't have direct counters for these 2 supports, or Core in the Pangolier if they want to run it that way. They do have the flexibility, just having to roll up, going in the middle, getting the control off from there, and clearing out space for the Bane to actually get a good grip off. There are still good stunts here from Spawn.496 from every hero to stop a long grip, but the Pangolier is not going to be worrying about a Grimstroke or anything like that. So it's a little bit better for the Pango here. Lilgun also going to Queen of Pain, having another sort of highly mobile here to follow the momentum of that Brood Mother. So they've got a lot of jump, they've got a lot of early presence. I think that's something for Spawn.496 has to be a bit worried about. Yeah, all right. Oh yeah, yeah.
Radiant team ban.
has arrived.
Beautiful. Someone's gonna clip, I'm sure. Nina, if he's out there, our great admin Nina, who got a lot of love last time, would probably be able to clip. He needs to feel good, you know. Give the guy at least one day to feel good.
Dire team back.
It's like when Carl all chatted with Abeng, you know, that entire thing. We're friends. We're friends. It might not seem like it. We're all good buddies. You know, it's just banter. Oh yes. You gotta love it when they're in the zone, and then at the end as well, the intro boys, man, that's great.
Radiant team ban.
We need to bring back the Malding mic streams, man. I'm sure the viewers miss it.
10
Still,
seconds remaining.
Going on with the draft here, Mike. Spawn.496, they've got the Dark Willow, so they've got the combo with the Mars. They've got a lot of AoE control here from Spawn.496. They've got the Terrorize, the Bedlam, the Brambles to play with the Mars. They've got the Torrent and Boat from the Kunkka. They have a lot of ways to keep that Queen of Pain down, and I think when it comes down to the team fight, Spawn.496 is leaning towards that way, and we saw that in the last series as well, Mike. That emphasis on the 5v5 seems to help out the team when they have more tools to use in the big breakout. So despite Spawn.496 playing against that Brood, I think they've kind of set themselves up well to at least take these fights and sort of just rely on the Kunkka to clear out those spider wings.
5 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick. Ten seconds remaining. Dire team pick.
Terror Blade.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, that definitely is all you need. I mean, it should be enough, but it's all down to execution from Lilgun. Now, we have seen them execute really well, so this is a draft that plays at the tempo they love, and they've got the Brood, they've got the Terrorblade, a big win condition for Sanctity to play on the safe lane, and they can just kind of roll with that. I do worry about picking TB into Mars, because TB into Mars kind of feels awkward. We've seen that Arena ruin Terrorblade's use of Metamorphosis, kind of isolate him away from doing damage, so there is still counterplay from Spawn.496, and they do close out with the Brewmaster themselves. And is a Ghost Kunkka on the safe, so we'll have that core Kunkka on the pos 1, and Chao Bon Bon or Bombi is taking that Dark Willow on the 4. So, pretty straightforward. Exalearn is taking the mid-Mars, which we haven't seen for a while, but it looks like he is anticipating maybe playing up against... it looks like he is going to be playing against 4-2-3, so he's ready for that. There's some good wave clear. As a melee hero, the Mars doesn't get pressured out too hard by a Brood. You can just kind of shove the Brood back with a God's Rebuke and the Spear. and you are fairly durable, so you don't need to worry about the Broodmother just kind of outlasting you there. I think that does give a decent enough matchup for Spawn.496, but watching drafts from both sides, Mike, we don't tend to see, you know, the Broodmother too often. You don't tend to see the Brewmaster too often as well, so should be a great back and forth with Lilgun and Spawn.496. Yeah. Yeah. Never traveled. You know, you promised the beers, then it latched on. I was promising him nasi lemak. Right? Then you couldn't hang on. It's like, yeah, let's have some beer. So I reminded him again. It's like, yeah, sure, I'm still down for it. Then Ghost came in. He's like, Bojo. Hey, you know, we're not leaving you out. It's open for everyone. You can come down. Don't Bojo. Bojo is like, you know, you didn't invite me. As an expression, it's like you didn't invite me and say, come on, but Ghost, you're down for it too. If everyone's down, we'll go down. Clever Mike. There you go. The chat reels, they heard you. 11 heard you. He's like, oh, that's clever, Mike.
Prepare for battle.
Game number 1.
I've been dreaming of this moment.
Good luck, have fun's flying out. You know, I had to get a really lame joke in, John, as well. You had one earlier on. You always get the lame.
I have a lot of lame jokes, Mike, and it's... The sad thing is sometimes I don't even recognize those are lame jokes. I don't even recognize their jokes. I'm just that daft.
Half the time I have to point it out to you. Every
exactly
time.
It. Yeah, it just flies over my head. I don't realize how dumb I am making these dumb jokes. They just flow naturally.
Well, let me assure
you know?
Let me assure you, Jonathan, you are very, very dumb. In case you were doubting yourself. Don't you worry, sir. You are correct.
Thank you, Mike. It means a lot to me to hear you say I'm dumb.
No, don't do that. You need to find a way to give me trash back, John. Otherwise, the viewers, they keep thinking I'm bullying you, and I'm getting upset about it.
I like playing into it. You know, it's like you call me dumb, I'll say, yeah, I am dumb. It's great. Thanks.
Oh.
That's my defense mechanism. You see, that's why I was bullied as a kid, because I would just let them. And for me, it wasn't even being funny. I was just, hey, all right, I am dumb. Yeah, right, I'm fat. All right, I'm American.
Oh.
I don't know how that was a bullying tactic, but yeah.
It's not a session with your psychiatrist, John. Just calm down.
Psychiatrist Michael Phoenix. The P, Michael, a psychiatrist. There you go. That's what you are now, Mike.
Believe it or not, John, once upon a time, I did want to become a psychologist or a psychiatrist, whatever you call it. I don't know what the difference is between the two, but I did want to become one once.
Wow. I'm actually surprised. Can you imagine the first impression you'd make on people when they walk in, they see your majestic beard, your Giga Chad face? They must be like, oh, I'm gonna get fixed today.
It wouldn't have worked out very well, John. I'm not a very I know, I'm a nice guy, but you know, I have limits too, John. I can't hear people complain non-stop. I mean, I realize everyone's got their different problems and stuff, but you know how I am, Jonathan. I have to be the one complaining, otherwise it's not good enough.
Absolutely. I mean, you've got your own share of problems, Mike, which I'm sure most people would know, but it's quite the life you live, Mike. Quite the life you live.
Oh, they'll find out one day, Jonathan. Hopefully. So Sanctity bot lane, of course, going to be there with Ace 12, and we do have Red and the lovely... How did you pronounce that? Xiao Bon Bon. Which is Bonbi, but it's Xiao Bon Bon now. So Xiao Bon Bon and Red going to be up against Ace 12 and, of course, the lovely Sanctity. John, this laning phase, it does seem like it could be quite detrimental here for the TB, as you do have the Cinder Brew into the Brambles or whatever else you want to activate the Cinder Brew. Do you feel like Sanctity get through this laning phase unscathed, or Spawn.496 they should have a big advantage?
It's an annoying lane for Sanctity to deal with, but I think Ace 12 is doing enough to kind of relieve that pressure. Look at its positioning to cut off Xiao Bon Bon, and again, going for that level 1 reflection to ensure that there's some zoning tools from the Charlian, ensures that the first 2 waves until he hits level 2 is pretty smooth. So I think there's enough for the Terrorblade to hold here. It's mainly down to Ace 12 to get that zoning off, but considering how the first wave went, the first 2 waves went, I'd say Sanctity's kind of set up to have a pretty even time here. There's still that threat from Xiao Bon Bon and Red, especially when they hit level 3. once you have that Cinder Brew leveled up along with the Thunderclap, there's a lot of harassment you can dish out, but you do still have to respect that constant harassment output reflection here from the TV.
Of course, mid lane, you've got the Brood, 4-2-3. He's rotated here to be up against Learn, is I believe how you pronounced it. The Mars vs. Brood matchup. Does feel like it's going to be Mars favored. 4-2-3 right now doing just fine. Learn just kind of ahead in terms of CS, but you're always going to have that God's Rebuke available and the Spear once you do have the Spiderlings up. 4-2-3, we'll see what he decides to do once he does hit that level 6 mark. He may just decide to just go to the jungle and just start farming there along with the mid lane. But in terms of laning matchup prior to those level 6 marks, John, is there anything we should know about with these two, or it's just going to be a very even kind of time?
It's very even. You can see already when 4-2-3 runs up to try to harass out Learn, he just spears back, and suddenly that entire time with insatiable hunger is gone. So there's back and forth play. I think there is a big advantage for 4-2-3 in terms of jungle control, though, as Mars isn't that flexible and can't really move into contest.
Yeah, they get Ohio down. The first blood to go the way of the Queen of Pain, as Ghost does at least get a bit of revenge, but you'll be more than happy with that trade as Lilgun. Ohio, the first one to drop on the map.
A nice pickup there for Spawn.496. They do manage to grab Kishka as well. So they're cleaning up quite a fair bit. I think this top lane is really important for Spawn.496 to kind of get that momentum going as well. Like, Ghost has to hit those early timings on that Kunkka to start, snowballing away. 11, we've seen the offlane Quap a couple of times. He is going for the Shadow Strike Blink, but there's a lot of hold here from 496, especially once they get the X mark up on Ghost. So they can just chain stun, look for the kill opportunities, a lot of damage that can come out from Ghost as well with just the early Tidebringer. So I think even as a highly mobile Queen of Pain, you've got to watch yourself, and mass disconnects from Lilgun. Looks like a bit of an issue in the team house, as you would expect with Southeast Asian internet.
Absolutely. Nothing wrong with that, Jonathan. We could talk forever, I'm sure. Going back to your dinner date with your page, aka Japoy, you were trying to update me earlier on, John, but now that we're live to however many thousand people, I'd like you to go back and have that conversation. What's going on with the dinner date, John? What happened?
Look, we greeted each other Happy New Year. He was like, we should definitely do that dinner. I'm like, yeah, all right. Yeah, I thought it was off because he just kind of, didn't mention it again. He's like, we should definitely do that. And we're like, oh, okay. How about January 2? He's like, all right. January 2 sounds good. I messaged him by January 2 or January 1, the day before. Message him the day before. It's like, all right, so how are we doing it? He's like, oh, I've got scrims. They had scrims. So we couldn't meet up, but he said we should definitely still meet. My parents want to meet you because they know you. I'm like, that's so strange to me that people know me. I don't want to be known necessarily.
No.
I'm just a weird guy who talks about Dota.
Not just people, John. Japoy's parents want to get to know you. Very, very good to see. I'm glad that Japoy's parents take interest in Japoy. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm happy for you too as well, Jonathan. I hope you enjoy your dinner.
Yeah. They aren't enjoying the top lane, though. Good stuns out from Ohio, but he's pretty low here, Mike.
Oh, Ace 12 bot lane, though, might just drop to the Cinder Brew, but no, he's going to be able to survive. Both side lanes are going kind of nuts right now, and it's going to be bot lane where it does happen. Sanctity is going to end up going down. Meanwhile, top lane, 11 barely able to blink away as Kishka just keeps going. He does find Ohio and now wants to just try and go after Ghost. Can he get a disarm going? Well, he doesn't even have the lucky shot available, so Ghost will take him down, but now 11 will go back in after the Kunkka, but Ghost, he's hiding, waiting for that Tidebringer hit, and it's up in 3 seconds. In fact, never mind that, because Ohio, he'll TP back in, but he won't be within range to get an Earth Spike off. In the meantime, Red does end up finding Ace 12, and now Sanctity, he's trapped up in the tree line, but he wants to go for the chase onto Red. Rather, we'll have to leave them be as they do Shadow Realm and just walk out of there. Still, a pretty nice exchange across the map for Spawn.496. In fact, it may not be over yet, but no, it is.
And the aggression's really ramping up for Spawn.496. It's down to that early timings they do have. Ghost isn't safe up top, though. Dropping low, but a good Hex from Ohio does hold him off. But the harassment out from both sides is insane. This is to the benefit of Spawn.496. You've killed off Sanctity already. He's having a pretty decent time finding CS, but that kill will offset his early timings into power treads, into whatever else he might want. And it's that damage spike for the Brewmaster.
Bot lane, Red just chasing down Sanctity once again with the Shadow Realm flying out. Red just trying to keep up, but he's getting a little bit unlucky with that Drunken Brawler, so instead they'll go after Ace 12. He'll keep trying to fight, but the Curse Crown is going to fly in, and Sanctity runs right into it, but it won't matter. They can't capitalize. So Lilgun this time around, they'll be able to survive through the bot lane, but I've got to tell you, John, in terms of CS and just XP overall, Spawn.496, they do seem well and truly ahead in this bot lane.
Now they're getting a lot more out for Red. They managed to get another kill up top with Ghost once more, and it's down to that timing as well in the top lane, Mike. They've got level 3 Tidebringer. They've got double stuns on Ohio. They've got the X mark ready on Ghost. They can just lock in even something like the Quap and Pangolier, who are highly mobile, and just burst them down. So great laning starts for Spawn.496. Lilgun off to a much slower start. Their mid lane is probably the best lane coming out here from Lilgun. Level 6 already had by 423, so you can play with those Spiderlings. But as we mentioned, Mike, Spawn.496 has the tools to stop the Brood. They've got Arena to hold her in one spot. They've got the Tidebringer down the line. We've got to see how much 423 can bring out for the signature Brood in this game.
Ace 12 going to drop again. It's just that combination just so effective here from Red and Xiao Bon. Of course, Sanctity again can't really do much about it on the TB. Just holds his meta for when he needs it to just farm up. But apart from that, save Ace 12 when he does get caught out like that. In the meantime, top lane, Kishka may be caught with the boat to fly in. Hex is out as well. They'll land a turret, they'll land a double Earth Spike out, and Kishka's gone. Z11 will be able to walk away, but in the meantime, Sanctity's been chased down again. Nightmare's out, but Red is not giving up. Sanctity, how fast can you run, sir? Ace 12, oh, that's a great body block out from Ace 12. Sanctity, does he get rooted? Not quite. The illusion will wear out, but he's still running, and he does make it out. In fact, he's going to turn now. Xiao Bon may not be safe as they have the meta. They'll be able to go back in onto the Dark Willow, and Sanctity does pick up the kill. That is an excellent body block there from Ace 12. But Red, he might still be able to get Sanctity. He's not out of the woods yet. Red, he'll chase him down with the Flame Remnant. Here comes Red with the Storm Remnant to boot, and they will finally take him down. So in the end, I suppose Spawn.496, they came for.
They get everything they want. They even managed to force in the movement from 423. And we didn't really mention this last time, but I always forget that the Brewmaster is also a direct counter to Broodmother. Just because you've got the Electric Spirit, it has that Dispel on summons, it's 1,000 damage to the Spiderlings, Mike. They just die.
Oh, Kishka. Yeah, I mean, look, Kishka's having a very rough time top lane.
Oh,
X out as well from Ghost just to hold him down, and man, Spawn.496. 3 to 10 so far, 1k net worth advantage. In fact, make that 2k now. But these guys, they're looking great thus far.
It looks like they've sorted a lot of those issues we were talking about in the back end. They're moving as a unit really well. They're playing together as a team really strongly. Their draft is excellent to counteract this Brood. And Lilgun, they're confident with this hero, but it just doesn't feel like we're getting that impact yet from 423. And a lot hinges on that Brood to get off to a running start. To force rotations out to one lane, to, you know, force the enemy team to just hyper-focus on one hero while your big core actually farms out. It's not happening yet. There's so much pressure on Sanctity's lane. He's still level 5. He is finding decent CS, but it's not amazing, and he's lagging behind across all the cores. Bottom network right now across all of them. So a lot more catching up for Sanctity too, and that space has to come out from somewhere.
They're very patient on Lilgun thus far. Nothing really going right in terms of laning phase. So even the mid lane, while it has been close, hasn't been favoring 423, and I suppose we could have expected that. Learn just kind of has the advantage in terms of hero matchup as they do try to move in. Arena was up, but they weren't within range to really land it safely. Bot lane, however, Fiend's Grip is going to fly out. Ace 12, already at that level 6 mark, is going to be able to help secure a kill onto Red.
Yeah. Really strong pickup. Oh, they managed to blow Ohio up on the last tick as well. Spiderlings clearing out, so nice picks coming through from Lilgun. They're starting to hit that spike early on, and they're also starting to respond as a unit. They're protecting the lane of Sanctity, giving him the farm he needs. This is freeing up a lot of space for Ghost up top though, Mike, focusing in on that bot lane. And Ghost is already set to receive his own armlet up. It should be up and running. It's a lot more HP, a lot more damage every time he flicks that on with Tidebringer. That is something to worry about because he can just rip true every time.
Boat to fly in. Kishka, he's had a very rough time, but he's going to be okay this time around. As mid lane looks like XC learning, ran around. The Broodmother almost taking his life away, but not quite as Ghost. He'll rotate, but he has no X available. So no way to lock down 4-2-3. Ace 12, he's way too fast. He'll just run out of vision, out of range of Shout Bon. So everything's going to be just fine here for Spawn.496 and for the side Lilgun to boot. But 5-10 still in the favor of the Dire. Do you feel like there's a timing that needs to be hit by Lilgun? Like, is there a certain time in the game where they become very, very strong?
Orchid timing on 4-2-3, maybe a couple BKBs early on as well. And probably around the 20 minute time for in-game time. That's when you kind of peak as the Broodmother. There is some scaling to be brought out, but that's what we have to see from Lilgun. Spawn.496 really do have that aggressive early lineup. At some point, they're going to have to sit back and try to build up a little bit more on Ghost. You know, the pause 1 Kunkka does take a few items to really get rolling, but I think they've managed to buy that initial space out for Ghost anyway. Like, I think a big issue right now for Lilgun is that their playmaking doesn't exist on the offlane. Like 11 as a quap is really just there to dish damage. A lot of their setup has to come out from Kishka and from Ace 12. Again, we've seen the support do it before. We've seen it fall flat from Talon, so got to see that turnaround here from Lilgun with that control.
Mid lane, here we go. They've got the Kunkka with the Orchid out. He's been slowed up with the Fiend Trip, but are they going to make it in time to save his life? Ohio, he gets the Hex off and Ghost. He just takes all the Spiderlings out, all the gold for himself, but Ghost, he stuck around too long. He threw the boat out, but Kishka was there. Zhao Bon at least finding Ace 12. Arena down. They might find a Pango kill to boot, but they do lose their POS 1 Kunkka. You've got to kind of debate whether that's really worthwhile for the side of Spawn.496.
It's not that worthwhile. I mean, sacrificing your POS 1 for 2 support kills isn't the biggest. Lilgun's going to be very satisfied with that. They managed to get some good kills flowing for 4-2-3 as well on that Brood Mama. So start to build up. The Orchid timing's right there. We talked about that aggressive timing for the Brood. With the Orchid, it's starting to pile up. And this is the moment where you can run up. You can just melt these supports. You can melt some of these softer cores. I say soft, but Kunkka's not that soft. And just take control. So Lilgun has to start playing aggressive now. Spawn.496 has to be ready to watch that pace. I need to maybe choose and pick their battles. You know, they can't afford to keep running up like this because key items still need to come out for their heroes.
The ball out. They've got the Brewmaster this time, but he's got help right behind. In fact, XC Learn, he's going to rush forward, trying to find Kishka without the arena, but looking for that angle for that spear, and he will find a very nice angle. In fact, XC Learn setting up another kill onto this Pangolier. Spawn.496, they'll protect Red on that Brewmaster. That'll be enough for them. They'll back right off.
Just go back to farming. For Spawn.496, taking these larger fights is a bit difficult. Hit and run ganks like that are really what you can hope for right now, because mainly they need a lot more, especially on the Brewmaster. Like, we need Red to have the Ags up, so there, you get that consistent primal split in the middle of a fight. And we're going to need a BKB on Ghost, who's not just going to get run down by the Broodmother with the Orchid. Once you have those items up, that's when your typing starts to spike against your spawn. So have to be a little bit more patient. They are making good use of clearing out these Spiderlings that are trying to go out and D-ward. They do manage to clear them out. And they're keeping that vision control aspect of the Broodmother in check. Split push isn't really coming out. The nuisance of a Brood isn't fully realized yet, and I think that is keeping Spawn.496 on a much more even pace here up against Lilgun.
Spawn.496, they have slowed down quite a lot. Just waiting for that Ags up on Red. They get aggressive very, very soon. I mean, during that late game stage, you might not be confident enough to go against Sanctity on that Terrorblades mid lane. Looks like they have made a bit of a jump in. Sonic Wave out. Red, he's been targeted and he does end up dropping as 4-2-3 does get the kill. But now XC Learn with the arena out into the double bow. They'll get both 11 and 4-2-3 down. And XC Learn's not done yet. They'll chase down Ace 12. Ghost is on the front lines, but they don't have the lockdown. Won't matter though. 2 cores for the price of Red on the Brewmaster. Very well worth here for Spawn.496. They take the tier 1 mid tower. And they'll even be there in time to defend the bot tier 1.
Yeah, just great movements across the board from Spawn.496. It took a lot of spells from Lilgun to find that kill. They had to get the Orchid, they had to get the Sonic Wave off. A lot of their AoE burst was just committed onto one hero. And it's still a big kill. You're stalling out the Ags timing of Red. But that means they can re-engage here on Spawn.496 with the split. So they're going to go for that smoke play, Mike.
They are. You've got to approach that triangle though, and it's not very easy, but Ohio, he does get an Observer Ward down. No vision over any heroes though. The Sanctity, he'll be farming the ancient stack, but Ohio smoke broken. He is going to be found out though. Sanctity still trying to run. Exilern gets a slow off. Can he find a spear? Not quite yet. Ohio though, he's breaking the gap and he does get the hex off. That's the big target you wanted. They might get him in time, but no, the Nightmare. Might bit of time and the Stalker comes out. Sanctity, he'll survive. Pops the meta. Onto red they go, but the Cyclone will be there. Meanwhile, 11 trying to go after Exilern, but he'll just TP out in time. Instead, they'll be forced to Ohio. But Spawn.496, they barely miss out on finding the Sanctity kill, and they'll even lose red on that Brewmaster. Just a terrible set of events, but a beautiful Nightmare from Ace 12.
They really played on the edge there for Lilgun, but great timing coming out, and now because of all those expended spells from Spawn.496, Lilgun gets to go into the Roshan with that Metamorphosis. Not much time left, but you've got the Broodmother, you've got the Spiderling spawning up, so it shouldn't take too long to clear this out. Spawn.496 have to run in here if they want to contest fast.
Arena down. It's a nice arena too, with the boat flying in, getting two heroes, and they've got Kishka and Sanctity down already. Oh, just so much damage if it all ends up landing, and now 11. He's forced to blink away as they'll continue trying. Sonic Wave out. It's going to allow to Zhao Bon, but 423, he's trapped up on the cliff right now. Tries to fly out. It tumbles toy onto the cliff, and 423, he's still alive, but being X-back now. The Broodmother's not safe, or maybe he is just barely walking, but no, the spear to the backside. It does land onto 423. So Spawn.496, I mean, so far so good. They might be able to go back for the Roshan.
Yeah, they can go clean it up. It's less than half HP. They don't have the best damage, but they can still get it done. They've got tanky frontliners. They can take their time. They should be able to have Arena up by the time the Roshan's gone as well, so you can force them in the fight.
They forced it right now, John. Kishka speared off the high ground, but Exilern doesn't care too much about it, or maybe he does. A mistake there from Exilern. Maybe just assuming he'd have the damage with the God's Rebuke, but just not quite enough. And in fact, it seems like Spawn.496, they're going to leave the Roshan be.
Playing cautiously, I think they realize that with the Terrorblade up, it's not too far off from Metamorphosis. They've got the Rolling Thunder in such a tight spot, so there is turnaround potential while the arena's down. Spawn.496 will just opt to play it safe. You know, they don't necessarily need to rush up. It is still the strong point of Lilgun. Like, the lead of Spawn.496 isn't that big here, Mike. 2k, 10 to 18. It's sizable, but not big enough that you feel outright confident in every engagement. You have to respect some of that power from Lilgun as they're starting to peak here. BKB coming out next for 423. The Broodmother is going to be a lot harder to pin down. You might still be able to clear out the Broodlings, but she still hits hard as a hero.
I mean, we're out there, baby. At least got a Dark Willow here. The Inscript going to be committed. Sanctity, he'll go for the kill. And that might open up the Roshan again. They do have the meta up. 423, he thinks about it, but just not 100% confident with the arena both being available again. Just such a devastating combination from Spawn.496. Roshan will be left alone once again. They do try to scout out, but find nothing. So still a 1k net worth lead here for Spawn.496, but John, with their draft, do you still believe they can outscale Sanctity?
Yeah, it's all about the Terrorblade, and when it comes down to that, if you look at the lineup of Spawn.496, they don't have the best magical burst. They have good physical damage from a Kunkka, but it takes a little bit more to get that going, and that's the big concern. Like, Sanctity after that rough laning start is now number 3 net worth, right above the Broodmother, right below the Mars of Exilern. So the scaling is coming through here for Lilgun, and that's what they always do when they have this Broodmother for 423. They give Sanctity something that can carry the game, and it looks like that condition is being met, Mike. I think Spawn.496 has to be very cautious about that terribly down the line.
So they might have the Willow with the Sonic Wave just barely connecting there from 11. Well, Exilern, he tried so hard to get there in time with the God's Rebuke to take down those Spiderlings, but a very nice Sonic Wave from 11 just on the outer edge does connect. But Ghost, though, at least finding Ace 12, might be able to find a support pickup of his own, and it looks like he will. A little direct trade between these. Nothing to write home about, but just very even between these two.
Yeah, still keeping the kill board into their advantage for Spawn.496, but net worth, it's still not translating well. back, a less than 1k lead. You worry about the scaling of Sanctity. You worry about 423 hitting that 20-minute spike that's lined up. Excellent.
He does have the illusion rune, so luckily for him, he purges off the Orchid, and now 11's the one in trouble. In fact, the finger, it travels with the blink and does actually secure the kill. 11 probably won't be too happy about that one.
Oh yeah, that's one dramatic way to die. Blinking away, that could be a really good thing to put in SFM. But good plays from Spawn. Very fortunate they had illusion, otherwise I think that could have turned out the other way. And this should allow them to go back, try to retake control of the triangle. You can see here, Lilgun has so many wards in this area. They know this is where they've got to play. They know this is where Spawn.496 will want to keep forcing the issue. So they just keep an eye on the triangle, keep securing more space for Sanctity. He is just uncontested in top lane. We've seen a couple of forays out from Spawn, but not enough to really shove him away.
Guys, he's being a real nuisance now. With the boot to travel up, he just continues to roam the map so efficiently. Gets another kill onto the Pango. However, top lane, who have they found? It's going to be Ohio. So another support trade going on across the map. It's not going to amount to much. Neither team going to try for the Roshan or any towers. Still just being very patient between these two. And Red, surprisingly enough, throughout all this time, still has not put the Ags up. Perhaps it's what Spawn.496 has been waiting for, but it has been quite a bit of time since he's had the point booster and the Ogre Axe. Or rather, the Ogre Club.
It's been slow going.
Yeah. Never mind.
Yeah, it's been slow going because he's been forced to join in a lot of those earlier fights, and they've been surrendering a lot of that farm as well towards the side of Ghost instead. They want to get this Punka up to snuff very early on. But at Silver Edge, down the line, you could see the AC, you could see the Ag Shard, so a lot of utility that can come through, and that needs heavy investment. So he's had to take the backseat. That has given more time as well for 43 to hit his spikes. The BKB is up, 22 minutes in along the Orchid. Broodmother is now pretty much at peak form. This is when things can get really hairy up against the Spider Knight.
Here we go, Excellent again with a great blink in with the spear. It's not going to land, so Ace 12, he's been X'd up. He's going to be fine, no torrent to follow up. In fact, now the Nightmare just taking so much time to kill off this Bane, but there is no helping coming. So regardless of how much space Ace 12 just bought, nobody wants to force the team fight from Lilgun. And Spawn.496, they finally feel confident enough to go into that Roshan pit. And it was literally just the Aghanim's timing. Red just picks it up, and now they want to go for that Roshan.
Yeah, they've got the double split in play now, so they can easily just take control and move these team fights. The side of Lowgun's a bit too split up to contest. They are going for the mid-tier 1. Their push isn't that fast. They are having 423 join in, but it looks like that's going to align perfectly with a Roche timing here, and Spawn.496 can look for the fight here.
Well, they might try to fight now. Spawn.496 will make the jump in, but it's just for the Spiderlings. Roshan again, just a very low HP, just about 3k, but it's not been finished yet. One's Roshan to take. This time Lilgun, they'll position, ready to go. Of course, they never ended up finishing off that tier 1 tower, but they do stop the Roshan, and that's what's more important right now for the side of Lilgun. Spawn.496, it seems like they're more than happy to just leave it be. I mean, there's just so much vision around the Roshan pit right now. Just wards everywhere, along with the spiders. Seems like both teams are well aware that they'll be able to just jump in whenever, but Ohio, he's been caught out on that line. Excellent, they're going to jump in. Sanctity, nice BKB timing, does not get stunned up, but 11 does, and that'll be a quap gone. Sanctity now needs a way out. He'll just BKB TP out of there, immediately leaving Ace 12 behind. And as soon as they lost that quap, they were not interested in the team fight any longer. Spawn.496 now can definitely go for this Roshan.
And you've got all the tools they need. They wouldn't have Arena or the boat for the team fight follow-up, but it doesn't look like the Lilgun's in set to go fight. They have the roll from the Pangolier, but it's basically going to be him trying to look for that angle, and it doesn't look like they'll be able to find it. At least the spiders are scouting out here.
He's trying, and he might just make it. No, he's half a second too late. Had he had a blink dagger up, he probably would have actually made that in time. At the very least, Kishka, he's not going to die for that. There's one big positive for the Pango. But they still are 1 Aegis behind now and 1k behind, at least for Lilgun. This game just remains so even between the two, which I think most people would have really not expected.
Yeah. Sanctity though, down bot.
caught out, terrorized. It's going to land. BKB was not available. It's still on cooldown, so Ghost, he's going to throw the boat in. And Sanctity, he has no way to survive.
Radiant's middle tower is
Meanwhile,
under
Ohio,
attack.
he has dropped across the map, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, pause one for a support trade. You always take that as Spawn.496.
Yeah, they're playing really well now. They're starting to shut down that progression on Sanctity. He's lagging behind by 2k in comparison to Arkunka. Silver Edge not too far off as well for Ghost. So his big damage spike is coming through, Mike. And we haven't even seen the full power of the Primal Split double charge yet from Red. They haven't even had a prolonged fight where that was necessary. So there's still a lot of tools for Spawn.496 to fall back to, and there's a lot of scaling left in Ghost at this point in the game. It's not like we're at the 50-minute mark where you start to question how much a Kunkka can do against Terrorblade, and even then, again, I remind you of the utility of Kunkka, Mike. The Ag Shard down the line on top of his right-click items with the AC and Silver Edge. There is still scaling left for Spawn.496. It's all
Dire's
about being
middle
disruptive
tower
in
is
these
under
team
attack.
fights.
Radiant's bottom
And it
tower
is.
is under attack.
Ghost looking for a pick off again.
Dire's
11. He's had a rough time with the Conker, and he blinks right into him. There's the X out. BKB going to be forced here by 11. That's going to allow him to get out, but now no BKB available for the next 70 seconds. This means Lilgun will have to be very cautious as 11. He's not necessarily out of the woods yet. Still,
Radiant's
Xiao
bottom
Bon
tower is under
does find
attack.
Ace 12. They rotate across the map and go for the Bane kill instead. In fact, he does get rooted up. Spear back. 4-2-3. He's going to try and help, but the finger's already out. Ohio just gets rid of him. But Sanctity now with Kishka. They're trying to force the fight. Ohio's already gone. Sonic Wave there. Xylern is somehow still alive on the high ground. He got pushed up, but it won't matter. 11, meanwhile, does end up going down on the quad, but now the boat to fly in. The Pango, Kishka still trying, still alive somehow with the roll up, but he finally ends up dropping his Xylern. Is now on the run, but 4-2-3 will chase him down. Does take down the Mons, but now the X-Back has found the Broodmother. Meanwhile, trying to get started onto with the damage output. It's going to be there. The Aegis is down, while 4-2-3, he's still alive, stealing up through the Brewmaster. But now Ghost, he is back on the Kunkka, and that means Sanctity does have to leave. He tries to go after Xiao Bon, but it's not going to be enough. In fact, never mind, it will be. He does get the kill. Now with the Thunder out and the Fiend's Grip, they'll hold down the Kunkka. Maybe they've got him for 496. They're trying to survive, but Ghost is down now. Sanctity against the world, but the world is losing. And Sanctity, he'll just keep going onto Red, but there's no way to cancel the TP. So Sanctity, the Giga Chad, he just mans up, and somehow, John, it ends up working out in the favor of Lilgun.
It worked out in the end. It was a hell of a back and forth with Spawn.496. Just such a prolonged fight. But in the end, great use of the BKBs coming out from Lilgun. Very well timed out from 4-2-3 to extend his life there. And he just played tag with the insatiable hunger. They reeled back some of that lead, and it's all down to the fact that they're getting good rolls out now from Kishka with that blink. He's just setting up for the team.
Yeah, speaking of rolls, John, Ohio, he's been caught out in a very awkward situation now as he's just kind of stuck. Kishka, though, well, he's in the awkward situation at this point as he's completely surrounded, no help around him. Ohio, he'll happily watch Kishka die very slowly but surely. Red, oh, he says it all, John. It's a bit of a sad trombone moment.
Dire's middle
He
tower
tried,
is under
and we were
attack.
just complimenting him as well and getting the rolls off. Still, sometimes you get a bit gun happy after a good fight, overextend. Good punishment coming out from Spawn.496.
bottom
And
tower
they've
is
still
under
got the
attack.
massive kill advantage, 19-30. But again, on that fort, it's just not big enough. It needs to be a lot bigger to deal with the Terrorblade. Sanctity with BKB is becoming tough to manage. He's going to get the Silver Edge next. That's going to be his damage spike. I think I'd like to see something like, say, the Terror Wave here with the Ags. I think that could be a good tool as well to give them some AoE control to help them manage some Spawn.496's counterfight potential. So we'll see if that's something he considers down the line. Looks like it might be the Satanic next. They run into Ohio though.
But they do. Easy Bane kill here for Spawn.496. You get the spear off. That'll be the Bane gone again. He does at least tank the gank there for Sanctity, so not too big of a deal here for Lilgun. Still a very close match. Net worth sitting at pretty much even. Still very slightly in the way of Spawn.496. But again, nothing to write home about here. And with their draft, it does feel like it's slowly dropping off. Especially with this Terrorblade. Sanctity just seemingly able to man up throughout a lot of damages. Well, who have they got there? Xiao Bon will be just fine. It's only Sanctity there. So no real lockdown for the Dark Willow.
Ghost.
Scanning.
Oh, Ghost. Uh-oh.
Detection?
He's been stunned up. But there's no detection, ladies and gentlemen. No dust available. What does that remind you of, John?
A lot of sad things, Mike.
Yeah. Kishka, he'll try to go for the roll-up and does avoid the boat, and actually a very nice blink out. Red's still on the chase though, and he does get the Cinder Brew procced. It just won't matter. Kishka, he does have the swashbuckle blood. Excellent, that's a great arena down. Just the confidence to know exactly where he went, and he still does end up securing the kill onto the Pango.
And that's really big. They managed to force out a lot of spells. They buy out a lot of space on the map as well to keep building up. That is space as well for Sanctity though. So arguably the Terrorblade is getting a little bit more from all of that movement across the map. And so is 423. But it's still a nice set of pickups, although good scouting here from 423.
Riz, ace 12. Was the target, but now 423 just sending all the Spiderlings in for Ghost to just farm up as now they've gone to the Bane. Ace 4 trying to juke out the X-Back, but it wasn't going to be there with the Nightmare. They found one, and they may have even found another. A great spear out from XC Learn. They're onto the Broodmother with the roots out, locking him down on the high ground. They'll find a second kill. Spawn.496.
Under attack.
Well, just back at it. Seems like if they do get the initiation, they do just tend to take over. And that's exactly what they do in that fight.
Yep. Just in control, they're moving as a unit, they're executing really well. Again, that is some space out for T, but speaking of, he's caught out.
That's the big one. Manta is going to purge off the Cursed Crown. Speed will not land. Sanctity, he's going to try and man up with the BKB out. He'll just TP. No need to stick around, no need to pop the meta. Once that BKB wears out, you are just so susceptible to the amount of control that they have on Spawn.496, so he'll just leave it be. Net worth is slowly just climbing up now for this dire side. Naturally, both teams are just going to be waiting for that next Roshan timing, which we will find out about in about 10 seconds.
It's going to be big. Both sides need to fight for that. We're going to want that free Ag Shard as well. We'll see who does get the upper hand here. You do have better control from Spawn.496 just taking over the triangle, having those forward wards as well to watch out smokes and movement. So they will have a good spot to be in. And they're very fortunate. Half a minute away from Roche. They're going for a smoke play on Spawn.496. If they find those kills, Mike, straight into Roche, that's great timing.
See, learn. Going, who are we aiming? Ace 12. He's scouted out again. He does break the smoke, but Exilon, he'll jump in with the spear out, but the Rolling Thunder is there. Kishka trying to stop all this. They will be able to at least trade supports. So now Exilon, who are we aiming for now? They've gone towards the south, and Sanctity got caught out. Uh-oh. No 11. He'll be KP and run. So will Kishka. But John, what happened to Sanctity? In fact, never mind that, because Ohio, he's back in. They do end up finding the Queen of Pain at the end. 11 just sticking around a bit too long. And eventually the finger will fly out from Ohio. That'll be the T2 mid tower to drop.
That is just ridiculous coming out from Spawn.496. They managed to split up that gank. I think the focus of Lilgun was just too split up. They go for the Dark Willow kill, cutting off Exalern, but they lose out on their Terribly. They're hanging around in the jungle, farming a bit forward without vision. He does get punished for it. Spawn.496, they're just going to go siege high ground, and I mean, this is really early considering the fact that they could play it safe, but they know they've got the advantage. Even if that Terrorblade respawns, what's he really going to do without the team fight behind him?
Has fallen.
Very, very true.
Radiant's middle barracks has fallen.
So far, so good. Spawn.496.
Radiant's top
One ranks
tower
down.
is under attack.
That top T2 tower now. Don't forget, Roshan did spawn quite a while ago, but just they have not scattered it out yet. They may go have a look now. I mean, Lilgun, they should be able to get there in time to try and counteract this Roshan play. If it does get started, and Ohio, he will double check and does see it. I believe there might be just an immediate smoke here from Lilgun. So they must assume the Roshan has begun. Though it hasn't. Believe it or not, they'll go for another counter smoke here. Spawn.496. Trying to catch them off guard. 11. Oh no, the arena's down. Ohio gets an immediate hex out. They're trying to take this Queen of Fate with Nightmare, and it might just be enough. He gets his BKB off in time, and Sanctity gets right to work, and a big Sonic Wave out. 11 just trying to turn this team fight, but they're on to the Terror Blade. Can they get the job done? Excellent. He will still survive with the life steal. He's still going. Sanctity getting torn enough. He's just being controlled this whole team fight, but now the BKB comes out. Now he can stand there and fight. Onto the Conquer they go, Ghost. He will drop. 4-2-3 still going to boot with the life steal. He may be able to make it all the way, or maybe not. He's still trying. He's Swell will save with the Nightmare, and now Red. He is the only man left, but not for long. As he tries to run. Looks like one Bruling might make it.
Oh, Red.
They've got him. They got him surrounded. It just won't matter. They don't have the TP cancel. But Lilgun, they've got something better, John. They've got a Roshan.
That's big. There's still a big timing here for Spawn.496. They've got the refresh on hand, so they could look to fight, but they need Ghost around, and he has no buyback. So Roche number 2 is going to go the way of Sanctity, and they might find a few kills as well if they overextend here on Spawn.496.
It could be the turning point now as the Rolling Thunder. Oh, don't even need it. Ace Swap, he's gone, but now the Rolling Thunder comes through. Onto 2 heroes. Ohio almost dropping, but not quite. The Spiderlings are out. 4-2-3 now. He's the one in danger. He'll still try to man fight as Sanctity. He'll do the same. Onto Learn in the arena. Learn, he's out of it for now. Just trying to get out with the Spawn Spiderlings. It's not quite enough yet. The armor toggle's just keeping him alive as they'll turn back in onto Red. Try for the Brewmaster instead, but he's just got infinite primal splits to use. So back onto 4-2-3 they go with the Bedlam. They'll take him down. Sanctity, it's him against the world once again. We've seen this one before. In fact, Kishka, he'll rejoin the team fight. Back on Arena now 11. He'll reinitiate onto Zhao Bon Bon as Learn. He's thinking about jumping back in, looking for that spear opportunity, but he's going to wait out the BKBs. So Zhao Bon Bon will drop.
Amazing what you'll find.
Who won that team fight, John?
Radiant's bottom tower is under
That's a
attack.
toughie. I think in the end you could call that a win for Spawn.496 as they did kill off 2 cores, sacrificing the 2 supports. There was a buyback and dieback on their Dark Willow though,
Radiant's
along
bottom tower has
with,
fallen.
just losing line in general kind of sets them back. But it's a tiny win for Spawn. They don't find the big kills they really want. They want to take that Aegis out from Sanctity. They're having damage issues now. Just where, maybe this pause one tie just doesn't scale as well in terms of damage output, especially in comparison to a Terrorblade. This is when we need to see a little bit more coming out from Ghost. He is going for the Satanic Nexus sustain. They do catch out 11 as well, but no follow-up for that Hex.
11 still having a look around here for Ohio, but it looks like he has successfully hit himself. As now a nice Observer Ward dropped 11. No, not like this. Blinking right into Ghost. Oh, that's a great Nightmare from Ace 12, but it's not going to be enough. Ghost even popping his own BKB just in case. As Ace 12 now, he'll be the secondary target. He'll try and just survive, but he cannot. And Sanctity, he tried Asunder. It was not enough either, though. He's trapped in the arena now. They do at least get Ohio, but that's about all they're going to get. That'll be pretty much a buyback and meta wasted here for Lilgun. Spawn.496. They should be okay with that.
Yeah, it's a pretty great take from Spawn.496. Again, widening their lead here just a bit more at 7k. They still have an issue with his Terrorblade. Once Sanctity picks up that Satanic of his own, I just don't know if you have the burst damage to deal with him. Sure, it's really annoying for Sanctity
Dire's
playing
middle
into
tower
the
is under
Brewmaster,
attack.
playing into all the control, all the stunts they have on Spawn.496. That Brew is key here. Red has to get a good split. Red has to constantly use that Cyclone on the TB while that Metamorphosis is running to kind of give Spawn.496 that opening shot. So a lot of pressure on the Brewmaster. He has been delivering quite well though. I think Red's done a fantastic job of just ensuring that they've got the control there. And Lilgun still have tools to play with, but it does feel like we're starting to hit the end point of where the Broodmother can get. We need to kind of see a shift towards 11 now in farm as well. Like our Quap is severely underfarmed, especially in comparison to our comparative Brewmaster. Like you are quite a bit ahead on Red. So I think 11's going to need some space of his own to start itemizing, to start helping out the team with some utility here.
Such a back and forth. I mean, the Aegis is still up on Sanctity. They may want to try and make some use of it. The minute and a half left remaining.
Dire are scanning.
Lilgun just seeming a little bit lost right now with Spawn.496 just sticking to their own game plan. They're going to have 3 charges of Primal Split very, very soon on red, and that's going to be very problematic for the next team fight. At least for Lilgun. They're going to move in, though. They see the Brewmaster. They'll try with the Rolling Thunder. They'll lock him down, but for how long? Red, he'll get orchided now, but he just has so many ways of purging that off, so he'll just keep buying more and more time until this Rolling Thunder is gone. And now Ghost, he might reinitiate with the Curse Crown out. Sanctity, he'll get rooted up, and now the Spear is there. The Nightmare, not quite enough yet. He's still stunned up as red. He'll move in. They've still got the TB. Where's the help? It's not incoming yet, but Sanctity, he is still alive. Still life stealing, almost baiting them in as the boat's gonna fly out. Can they time it? Not quite. Tornado's still going. Sanctity, though, is still dropping. It does end up losing his first life. He has one more. X out immediately there from Ohio. It's the Terrorize. It won't land, but the stun is there. Nice Sonic Wave out, pushing them back with Sanctity. He's still going to end up going down. He gets absolutely 0 off in the middle of this team fight. Because Lilgun, they need to retreat ASAP. This is not the fight for them. But they won't have much of a choice in the matter. 3 heroes down without buyback.
I don't understand. 4-2-3 now?
Uh-oh. Well, it looks like he's going to be okay, John. I think they just want to go straight for high ground. They don't really care for the Spider. In fact, they even found 11.
The creep cut.
Oh, 11, blink right in. Well, guess who's there? It's Lilgun. With the very, very long Earth spike there from Ohio. That'll be 11 gone.
I don't understand that last fight. Sanctity had his BKB for both lives. He never got it off. He never opted to use it. There's a window there where you could spam it and dodge on your second life, and he just held off for too long. He had windows where he was just right-clicking with Satanic. That is such a massive mistake that opens up this game completely now for Spawn.496 onto the high ground. They could go for the Megas, they could go for Tier 4s if they want to. They've got everything to deal with it. There's nothing to stop them. Like, a lone Broodmother is just not enough here.
I agree with you, John. I was kind of wondering mid-play when the BKB was coming out. It's a very strange situation. I'm not sure if Ohio was really that quick on the fingers. See, it was a very quick Hex from Ohio, but I do tend to agree with you, John. I do feel like that BKB probably should have been popped at some point. Still, Spawn.496, they won't complain. Into the top they go. They are very close to taking this game #1 against Lilgun. The final lane of barracks now. Lilgun has to defend. Lilgun, he won't land the spear. They do feed script though. They've got Ghost on the Kunkka. He immediately gets bursted down with the meta pop by Sanctity as they look for more now. But they're trapped in that arena, just waiting for the walls to break down. They'll move back in onto Red after the Brewmaster. But it looks like Red should ultimately be okay. Panda out. They do get 1 kill onto Ghost, and they do successfully defend the top lane of barracks, but that's about all they have left on Lilgun.
Yeah, and you can see how dire this game is now for Lilgun. They're going for the Divine Rapier next and Sam. Excuse me. They know they need damage on the Terrorblade. It's an all-in play. I just worry because Sanctity's been picked off so many times. Spawn.496 has been very focused on just keeping that Terrorblade down, and they've done a great job of making this game tough for the TV.
I can hear you dying. John, go drink some water. I'll take over from here as Xiao Bonbon is going to avoid the gank here as Kishka. Rolling Thunder, it's going to connect. They've got Red. Now, this is the target you want to take down if you can, but he's just so tanky, and it's going to take quite a while. So many stuns out there. Kishka still going. Red, there's your aim disc proc. He gets the Primal Split off, but can he get the Brewlings out of there? Because Sanctity, he is right to work with the right clicks out. They'll get rid of 2, and now the Fiend's Grip. They are not playing around. Not this time, Red. He will drop, but he does have buyback if they need it.
Yeah, it's a great team fight for Lilgun. They can look to maybe force a couple of those buybacks. No rush to play for though, Mike, as it's still about 2 minutes away. So unfortunate for Lilgun that they can't really transition to bigger objectives, but they're keeping themselves in the game. They're relieving some of that pressure. They're stopping any sort of split push that can go on. And I think now, for the side of Lilgun, it's all about riding into that Divine Rapier territory, protecting Sanctity. Just keep your Terrorblade safe. You're gonna have a great time afterwards. I'd say a casual Lotus Orb right now would be of massive help. Like, we're seeing a Lincoln's being built up here by 11, so at least you can maybe stop one of those spells, but I'd say a straight up Lotus Orb would just give Sanctity a much, much better game and stand in the middle here.
Nice little taunt there from Ghost. Root up on Sanctity onto the Quap, but too confident to move in. There is meta up in about 10 seconds, so you do have to be very wary of that. It's not like Sanctity's been lacking damage. It's just the control in the team fight just not really going their
Radiant's
way.
middle tower is under attack.
Spawn.496, they still have this game in their hands. 2 racks is up, 10k net worth advantage. This is exactly where you want to be as this dire side, and now they smoke up. Roshan's still about 30 seconds away, but they will find a rogue ace 12 if they do make their way over. It's not a bad way to start. Though Ghost, he'll go for the outpost instead as Ohio does reveal himself with the mana drain. That'll give ace 12 all the info he needs to back off. His ward will get dewarded, unfortunately, so that vision for the Roshan is not going to be there now. Though neither team really has vision over Roshan or the area around it. Very even kind of fight in terms of vision. And there he is. Speak of the devil, he shall appear. Roshan is now here with a refresher shard of all things. So if you wanted even more primal charges on the side of Spawn.496, John, this is the Roshan for them.
Yep, they need to really put their bodies forward here. Really big one for Lilgun too, because the refresh metamorphosis is going to be key to maximize that Aegis. Looks like Lilgun are going to go for a smoke wrapper, and again, fairly blind here, no vision on that dire side. Jungle, they are taking a long arc around as well. Kind of nebulous as to whether or not they find someone, and they know something's up because the bot lane shoved in, the mid lane shoved in. Spawn.496 knows that there should be a movement here to kind of fight that Roche.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
He's been very good on this month so far, and he sees Sanctity, but the whole team's there. Being grip bound, they've locked him down. That's the last goal, but he'll buy back immediately. Right back into the team fight as they focus down Red. Primal splits out. Aeon disc proc, but he'll get another no. The sun is out of time, Red. He's trying. Sanctity, the speed comes out. Actually learn. He found 2, and now he refreshes for another. He's got 2 down. They'll buy back. They need this Roshan. As 11, he will be the 3rd to drop. He has his own buyback, but he will not commit it. Not quite yet as Kishka. He'll be the 4th to go down for Lilgun. XC Learn with that buyback, turning the team fight around. Do they want to go again?
Why not? There's nothing stopping them from Lilgun now. They know this is probably the last fight for Lilgun, and they are still in a really good position to fight. Lilgun are going to try to sneak that Roche away. So they're inside, at least playing with illusions, forcing response out, but they've got to split again on Red. This is a scary fight for Lilgun if they don't find the angle.
2 more charges. Very balanced here on Red. They will pop the smoke. Phoenix Drift was there. Who they got? Looks like they got Go locking him down. Sanctity, he can't quite get the job done. So Go, no, they can. The awkward was enough, but he'll buy back. Right back into this Roshan fight as they've got Sanctity controlled up at XE Learn. He can't afford to die, so he'll TP out in time. Meanwhile, 4-2-3, he's dropping low on the Broodmother, but he's on the high ground, and he's going to be able to survive through this as they go right back into the Roshan pit. Sanctity's going to try and rush this. I'm not sure if this is going to work out for him, as now Spawn.496, they show back up. Ghost and Red, they're around ready to fight. Instead, they'll go back to the Roshan now. Keep in mind, John, they only have 1 more charge of the Primal Split unless they get this Roshan. And they will be just, as it does go down. Pick up those items, boys. And they've got them.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Oh boy, this is now really
Radiant's
dicey for
middle tower
Lilgun.
has fallen.
They only have 1 set of racks standing. Their Ancient's actually exposed from all that pushing in from the lane spike. So 1 little fight and the Ancient could just go.
Well, they've got Sanctity. Sanctity, he has his BKB and Satanic. Nightmare gonna save for now, but the spear is out. Sonic Wave trying to force them back. He's still being controlled and he can't do it. He can't sunder in time. 11 now. He's trapped between a rock and a hard place once again, and he's gone. It looks like it's all Spawn.496 for game number 1 as they will rush for the Ancient, and that's it. Lilgun, they'll call it. They just could not find their footing. Obviously, some very awkwardness happening here from a few players here on Lilgun. And that allowed Spawn.496 to take the first game victory.
Yeah, outstanding play from Spawn.496. It felt like they really did.
Radiant team ban. Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Dire team ban. Radiant team pick. Ten seconds remaining. Dire team pick.
Mars!
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team pick. Radiant team pick.
Templar Assassin.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban.
Grimstroke.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team ban. 10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick. Mirana. Radiant team pick. Dire team pick.
The sack.
Radiant team ban.
Life stealer.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
They don't have the option of Terrorblade, which could have helped them, clump up and push early on with Metamorphosis. You could try for Luna. I mean, that can play pretty fast. Just go for a Mask of Madness Dragonlance build and join your team early and kind of push towers that way. I know. I mean, you and I have seen that here fail multiple times, but it does play fast if you wanted to. The other direction Spawn.496 could go is just ultra late game. right? They could go with a heavy pause 1 here. Something like the Medusa kind of fits perfectly with a Mars, with a Leshrac. That could be the way to go for Spawn.496 if they want it.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team pick.
Yeah, actually, I think it was a rare Immortal we saw instead. The PL does come out for 496, so not much illusion clear from Lilgun. This could be one way to go. It's not the fastest paced core, though. So there's still that disconnect with the pacing the Leshrac and Mars might want to play with in comparison to the PL.
10
but it
seconds
can develop
remaining.
quite fast. And again, when you look at the Lilgun supports, they can't clear out
5
illusions. They
seconds
don't
remaining.
really have AoE control to stop a Phantom Lancer as well. So I'm keen to see if Lilgun fix that with the offlane pick, because right now it is looking like a bit of a free PL game in terms of just zipping in and out and not being killed. Well, if the Sand King wasn't banned, that would have been one way to go.
Axe.
With the
Choose your hero.
axe. So the axe comes back out. I think we have seen 11 play that a couple of times as well. Maybe not in DPC yet, but certainly in the past. Is something he can play to the edge. So that is their AoE control. That is one way to punish a Phantom Lancer. We'll just have to see if 11 can get off to that running start. Because in the lane, I don't think the axe outright wins the lane against PL. Especially since you're already laning against Abaddon. So Battle Hunger build is just kind of cancelled out by Ohio. And that makes it a lot tougher for 11 to leverage that early start here. Yeah. Pretty much. It's sad, Mike. I know you really love that meta when Axe was like a big pause 1 for Valve felt otherwise. So there you go. Ice Frog nerfed you to the ground. It was fun. It was fun to watch, but it's gone, Mike. It's time to move on.
Prepare for battle.
Us as well and move into the game number 2. See if Lilgun can take this one. Whether we're going to see a 2-0 victory here for Spawn.496. A new year. If they are able to pull this one off. And again, you kind of mentioned this before game 1 really started, but they are kind of facing relegation with the way these series have been going for them. So they need every win they can get right now. So we are going to have a bit of a sneak up with Smoke, Red, and Xiao Bonbon. Not going to find any target they would have liked. Looks like they'll just have to leave everyone be. But you'd have to argue that they probably do have the stronger level 1 timing on Spawn.496. But I suppose it could go any way. But whenever I see a Leshrac, I always feel that way.
30 seconds to battle.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of damage that you can leverage here on Spawn.496. You do still have to respect the single target control, though. But again, you've got Abaddon. He already has the aphotic shield on Ohio, so even just finding one, as long as Abaddon's around, it can be a bit tough.
Very wise.
I think that will lead to just a bit of a passive start. You know, they're still kind of clumped up. Maybe they play tag for a bit, but it should be an even 2-for-2 start.
The battle
They're going to run into
begins.
ace 12. 4-2-3 still playing around, but he's going to leave the boundary room B. So it'll be a 2-for-2 trade. Even start between these two. And we'll start off with the bot lane, John. Of course, you've got 11 there, along with Kishka on that Mirana. They're going to be up against Ohio and naturally Ghost on that PL. Obviously, Mirana into Abaddon, not the most fun, as you can just purge off every single time somebody does get arrowed, unless he gets arrowed by himself. But I'd say, all things being said, it does feel like Ghost shouldn't have the worst time in the world.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too bad of a lane for Ghost. There are a lot of ways to play it. At the same time, again, you have to respect the early spin, the early harassment that 11 does have. I don't think he's going to be gunning for that Battle Hunger build, so we should maybe see Berserker's Call with Counter Helix really built up, just to emphasize on zoning out, because you'll never get value from Battle Hunger. Early hours are going to be important for Kishka, whether or not it's on a hero or the range creep. Really just to secure that initial EXP is going to be key for Lilgun. We'll have to see if they can get that running, but you're already seeing a lot of damage coming out onto 11, and a good amount onto Ghost because of that arrow, so the back and forth's already in play, Mike.
Certainly. Well, we do have a quick pause out, Jonathan. Are you looking forward to the new season of Dragon Blood coming out? I believe 18th of January is the date they've given.
Oh yes, I'm looking very forward to that. I'm looking to see how they treat our girl Lena, what else they have in store for us. I'm very happy to see that because I'm tired of everyone talking about Arcane. Stop it,
what?
guys, stop it. I don't want to see it. I respect that you guys say it's good, but you know I'd rather not. Thank you.
We're 59 seconds into the game, John. There's no Arcane rune spawning yet. What Arcane are you talking about?
It's nothing, Mike. It's just a little thing, you know. It's fine. It's the kids.
Sounds like garbage,
kids
Jonathan.
these days.
Sounds like a terrible anime if it was one. Anyway, moving on. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Of course, mid lane, Sanctity and XC Learn against each other. XC Learn, he's doing a great job right now of landing these stuns. But Sanctity is going to be able to survive through it, but you already see that aggression through the mid lane. Very annoying here for Sanctity. Keep in mind, no points up on Diabolic Edict yet, so you got to be kind of concerned about that being skilled up as well if you're this TA.
Yeah, there's a lot of burn that you can do on the left track up against TA. It's not an easy lane for the TA. We talk about range matchups versus melee matchups for TA. It does feel easier to actually line up your shots up against melee heroes compared to range, because you have a wider arc to dodge from as Excellent, so he's not really going to be affected by the side blades, even when they get up. Right now, Sanctity just doesn't have that, having to go for durability. And this is a cause of concern for Sanctity. It's a slower start for him on mid. Lots of denies coming through from Excellent, and so lots of EXP and farm disappearing from Sanctity, saying means that this left track is going to hit 6 fairly fast. You have really good bottle control coming through as well. And that's something that Lilgun might have to correct with a couple of support rotations for the bottle.
Oh, absolutely. And of course, final lane on top lane, you've got Xiao, Bon, and of course Red. They're going to be up against 4-2-3. You will have the support there of Ace 12. This laning phase, very even thus far, John. Do you think that there's an advantage to go either way, or pretty even kind of laning stage to be expected?
And this one's a lot more even. I mean, you've got the save and Ace 12 with Nightmare. You do have that dual stun that can come out with a Spear and the Inkswell. But 4-2-3 is fairly tanky on the Lifestealer. You don't necessarily want to trade with him up front because of his passives. So it is going to be a more farm-centric lane. And they are giving a lot of space out to 4-2-3 in that sense to build up, because Spawn.496 don't really want to harass him too hard. I mean, there's only so much Xiao Bon can do for the Grimstroke there. And again, Ace 12 is just putting his body forward to cut off that movement. So back and forth, just building up. 4-2-3 will want to hit that early farm spike into the armlet and phase boots. I think that's going to be key. That's going to be the central focus for Logan. Not looking for the kill opportunity on their side. Play defensive and just keep that farm game up.
So yeah, all the action seems to be in the mid lane, John. I mean, I consistently look over and Sanctity's just dropping low every single time. Of course, XC Learn now, he does have the level 2 Diabolic Edict up, so if you land that stun, Sanctity might just be as good as dead. As they do try to arrow and just catch out XC Learn, but he does juke it out. You pointed out the rotations, but now Sanctity, he might be in danger. He'll try to melt and fight back. That creep is taking so many Diabolic Edict hits as XC Learn now is the one in danger. But he does have a free fire, and now Kishka, he may have gone too far, but no, the arrow. It does land in time. He gets first blood onto XC Learn. Oh, such a close call. That damn creep by the TA that whole time, he tanked all the Diabolic Edict hits.
Yep. just took off it. You could have maybe burned out Sanctity if you managed to clear that creep faster, but rather unfortunate. Bon looking to pressure, but the TPs are coming in from both sides.
Nice stroke of fade out. Sanctity just so low, but not low enough to die yet. Learn he'll come back for a bit of revenge, but won't be able to be within range to really cast any spells. Does at least get the salve cancel through the halfway point. So definitely a very nice start here for Lilgun, and very nice timing from Kishka to rotate. So Ohio now makes his way over and will force Kishka away from the mid lane.
Yeah, rather unfortunate as well with that TP back on Mirana. Didn't get the bottle top up for Sanctity, and that will lead to Bon trying to be aggressive again.
Quick rotations though from the Bane, but it's very unfortunate timing for Ace 12. As he does get stunned up. And the chase is on. Learn he wants a secondary kill. Ace 12, he's going to be targeted, but he does find a little juke spot on the tree line. As Learn, he'll keep chasing with the creep vision. He should eventually be able to secure a kill here. But instead, he goes for the denies on the creep wave and just leaves them be.
I think he was gunning for the creep pull into a neutral instead. Missed us out. I feel like he had enough there to go for a lightning storm into stun and kind of get the diabolic edict to melt. So just letting Mercy play out in the end, Ace 12 is going to be fine, but that will lead to the supports being stuck in mid. They can still look for a rotation angle, but unfortunately for Ace 12, the creeps never stopped, Mike. So he was under vision the entire time. That also kind of forces Kishka's movement away. They will have to play passively again. But all the supports mid, it's opening up the side lanes a little bit more for Spawn.496. We're seeing Ghost benefit a lot. Like, sure, 11's still not a hero you can really run up against, but your PL is really not slowing down because of all these supports away.
Whoopsie, Ace 12. Oh, he tried to stick around to secure the power rune, but there was an observer ward with the vision all over him. He'll brain sap though, and the arrow does actually Learn going to be able to get the kill.
You merge.
The arcane rune going to go the way of Bon, as Sanctity does force the Grim to just take the arcane rune before he does it himself. So I suppose at least you deny the power rune away from the Leshrac, but that's about all you get out of that.
Yeah, it's not the biggest thing to get out of it, but it's still something for Lilgun. I think they should still be sort of happy with how freeing up the silence have been going. Like, sure, you're sacrificing the fact that you're giving PL some farm, but you're also opening up the game for 4-2-3. His armlet's almost done, into the face boots next, and even if your axe isn't slowing down your PL, he's still up there in CS. So you've got the early Vanguard already up and running for 11, Blink not too far off. I think that is something that both Lilgun and Spawn.496 has to consider when they group 6 heroes mid.
Force the rage out of 4-2-3 top lane as they did commit the Inkswell onto red. 1-4-9-6, no rush for them yet. Keep escalating on Learn. Same will be said though for Sanctity, who starts farming the stacks, and we're naturally against the Leshrac. You want to try and take these as fast as humanly possible. He will of course try to infiltrate later on and just take them with the Pulse Nova. Sanctity will get that done. And funnily enough, John, 11 is the one with the top net worth right now on the axe, and I suppose that's not too unusual considering he is 1v1 against the melee hero like a PL. But 11, he might have a very impactful game the way his laning stage has gone.
Yeah, I mean, he's already got the Vanguard. He's very well protected. He's going to the Blink next, so a lot of the plays will have to come out from him. And he always manages to get some good calls on the creep wave. Sure, not enough to find a kill, but definitely enough to zone out a PL. And then that's something for Spawn.496 is sacrificing by having all of their supports mid. 6 heroes mid for the past, what, 2-3 minutes, Mike? It's been non-stop.
And nothing's happened, John. Nothing's happened in this mid lane. They're just hanging out, just a bit of a party in the mid lane. Nothing wrong with that. Bot lane, 11's trying to go back in onto Ghost and has done a fair bit of damage. Doesn't really have the call to throw out again, so Ghost should be fine this time around. But no, the battle hunger's there. He found the right target.
Double desolation.
He won't chase though, as now, well, he's gone too far. Learn is going to be around to make sure that Ghost can finally get some farms going. There's 11, he'll try to turn, but no, Learn, he does secure the kill. That'll be, I believe, the third of the game for him. 3-1-1 on the Leshrac thus far. The impact has started for Learn.
He's got the maxed out edict, so it could be an easy swing for a tower push if you do want to commit here on the side of Spawn.496. For Lilgun, sure, your axe is tanky. With a Vanguard instead of a Hood of Defiance, you are going to be susceptible to that magic damage from the Lesh. So that's something to still consider there for our Axe, and I think that's going to lead to maybe just a focus on durability for him. He still is queuing up the blink. It's going to be the blade mail into BKB. Looks like he just wants the spell immunity instead of any sort of mitigation on a magic damage. Just wants to avoid it entirely and just stand his ground. With all the movements that's been coming through, you talked about stacks for the theater. Stacks here for Exalern as well. Clears out the large camp, still leaves the Ancient standing. Could be some good catch-up farm for them to fall back to as well if they do need. But Ghost is still under pressure. Very low HP. He's constantly been shoved out of his lane. Bottom network core, however, still above Sanctity. So it's actually Sanctity's bottom network right now in the TA.
Dire's top tower.
He's not too far behind either, John. I mean, everyone's very close in terms of net worth at the moment. He's just about 200 gold behind the Lifestealer, so really not too bad. Should be able to catch up quite fast.
Radiant's bottom
The Spawn.496, their attention is still focused on that mid-tier 1 tower. They're going to try and move in onto Sanctity. A nice arrow out onto Ohio, but it's going to lead to nothing. So Ohio is going to be able to walk away, but Sanctity, he moves back in, and I'm not sure about that because the Soulbind is going to lock them in. They've already got ace 12. Sanctity, though, he's going to be okay to back. Yeah, plenty of regen anyway, but they are going to lose ace 12 for pretty much nothing.
Great freebie kill for Exalern. Again, we've got to see maybe a sort of transition into a push here because Spawn.496 have been finding kills, but they haven't really transitioned that into anything on the map. Top lane's been left alone for 423 to farm up as well. So you're kind of giving up free farm and you lose your bot tier 1. And more map control coming out for Lilgun, more space for them to play that catch-up farm, to sustain the slightly greedier lineup with a Lifestealer, a TA, and an Axe. That's a lot of farm for all of these heroes, but opening up that bot lane, opening up that bot jungle for a bit, does make it safer for them to play this greedy lineup.
Does. Lilgun with a 1k net worth advantage should be okay with the way this game's gone. 423 already armored up, having a great old time in this Lifestealer, just no real pressure being applied. Link up on 11, they want to try and go for a smoke up and try to get some form of play going. Of course, if you do manage to find a pickoff or two, you're looking at that mid-tier 1 tower and it's looking very tasty for Lilgun. Instead, though, they might find Ghost. Kishka does spot him out for a second. 11 will try to close the gap, but is unable to before Ghost gets into the tree line. With that, however, 423, he'll just keep pushing that top tier 1 tower. And Ghost, he is forced to show himself to try and slow this down. But now they know he's in the tree line. They're trying to bait him out. Meanwhile, towards the south, who have they got? It's going to be Ohio. He's still fine, though, just to be able to walk away as the Abaddon. But he's not level 6 yet. But never mind that, because now Exalern is there. And they've got the Axe trapped up within the arena. And that'll be one down already. The Lilgun, they've got to lick their wounds and just back out. Without their Axe, they've just got no front line. Spawn.496, they play that really well.
They play it really patient. They manage to get the circle around they want. Lilgun, I think the one benefit for them is they still keep that Radiant side ward. So they've still got a really aggressive triangle ward to watch the farm. And considering that kind of movement, Spawn.496 still aren't pushing. Even if they're finding these kills, they're not killing the big core in the TA or the Lifestealer anytime soon, and they haven't taken any towers. They need to make a move on the map. They need to melt some of these objectives, Mike, because that's a ton of space for 423. That's a ton of space for Sanctity to catch up here, and they're catching up fast.
They've got 423 with the spear, but there's just no follow-up damage. That's the thing, right? Like, he's just going to pop his rage afterwards and walk away, and there's really just nothing you can do about it at the moment. You are very reliant on either Exalern or Ghost to be around to get that follow-up damage off. Bit of a group up though. Moonlight Shadow going to be popped. Ghost, he may have spotted that. As everybody on Spawn.496 does back off. And Lilgun, well, they will get nothing out of the Moonlight Shadow.
Yeah. Yeah, good dodge out from Spawn.496. They didn't really have the forward vision to find out. They just kind of get the game sense from the lanes being free. There was a clump up. That is still stalling for Spawn.496's push, but again, you're also not getting too much of a lead from Lilgun. So all things considered, it's still a very even game, Mike. And now it's their turn to smoke up. They've got the blink in red. They want to play with that arena again, and we've seen it from game 1 for Exalern and game 2 now from red. They just know how to play around as Mars.
If they do try right now Through the triangle they go. In fact, never mind that because they found a haste rune. Excellent, he'll take that one. Back into the triangle for 496. Ward's down at a great arena round. They've got Sanctity with the spear there, locking him down. Arrow to try and help out with the Nightmare. It's bought some time, but now he's completely surrounded. He needs help right here, right now, and he might just be able to get away from this. He'll turn onto Spawn.496, but eventually he will drop. They even found Ace 12 on the Bane. If they find anything more, Red, he's juking up the call here from 11, as now Ghost will join in, and they're just surrounding the axe and spearing him up with Red on the Mars. Arrow will land on Ohio, but what does it matter? 4-2-3, he'll keep trying to fight. He'll just keep trying to keep this fight going, as Kishka about to burn out, and so will 4-2-3. The Infest was not there in time in 11. He was forced to buy back to try and help out. He just tried to get the blink in for the Infest, but it just wasn't quick enough.
Oh man, that's such massive commitment from Lilgun early on to try to bail out of that fight. Pretty much a full team fight. Team wipe coming out from Spawn.496, forcing a buyback as well, delaying the further timings of her axe. We were just talking about 11 a while ago, having a great time in that solo lane up against the PL. You know, having this early Vanguard, having the early Blink. His timings are kind of falling off now. Even with the Blade Mill coming through after, like into the BKB, it just doesn't feel like it's going to be enough, and we need to see those big calls. He is the big playmaker for the team of Lilgun, right? Like, you can try to play around with Arrow and Nightmare, but for the most part, your AoE control is just Axe Call. So the investment has to come true onto 11, and again, when you consider Lilgun's draft with Lifestealer, with TA, and the Axe, there's just so much greed there, Mike, across all these cores. They all need farm. There's only so much space you can find that farm in.
Sanctity, maybe baiting for the team, but Red, he's there. Arena down again. Lilgun, they're smoked up. They're trying to make their way over, but it's just too late. Maybe they can still fight with a blink call out from 11, but where's the angle? He'll jump in onto Learn, dropping him low, spear out, Aphotic Shield just keeping him up as he gets the Yule Scepter off, but eventually he should die and does. In fact, Ohio may not be out of the woods yet either, but no, they're looking to reinitiate with Ghost down with the Inkswell onto Ace 12. Nightmare has been taken off with the Soul Bind now. They've got 4-2-3. The Infest wasn't there again. Back with the call. 11 still trying. They got Ghost with an arrow and they'll take him down. Finally, the PL does die. And now the Infest will give a reset back over to 11. Kishka looking for more. We'll be able to find Zhao Bon Bon. And that should be another. So going for an Infest. Onto 11 with the TP up. Oh, he's gonna make it. Zhao Bon Bon, very cheeky play there with the TP. But still a very nice arrow from Kishka to turn that team fight around.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
That was on the edge. Make sure they sacrifice their TA. They still find a big kill on Exalert, who had a massive kill streak behind him. And a net positive for Lilgun. They gain a lot more off of that. Still not too bad for Spawn.496. They do manage to clear out the tower off of that, Mike. And that should give them more space to roam in that top jungle. Apply that pressure on the farm of the TA, Axe, and Lifestealer. And because they have such low cooldown spells in Spawn.496, they're going to look to go again.
Oh, you bet your ass they are, John. Kishka, he'll be targeted this time. The spear will be off the mark, and Red, he won't bother popping the arena out. Rana will be able to leap away as now Ace 12 shows up. It's available if they want to try and commit it here. Go for the Nightmare first. Into the arrow, but the Aphotic Shield gonna save and allow him to juke that out. And that'll be enough. Lilgun not gonna overstay their welcome. All they want is to make sure this mid-tier 1 tower remains standing to allow 4-2-3 and of course Sanctity the space to keep this farm up. And that they will.
Yeah. Just keep stalling out, keep getting that win condition big. We saw Lilgun try to do that in game 1 with the TV. Again, this is another Sanctity special on TA, so they've got confidence and trust that it can get going. Although, Red...
Yeah, nice arrow out, Kishka. It's a short duration, but it's still a setup. Still, they won't be able to capitalize as the rest of Spawn.496 do show up. 4-2-3 though, he's still sticking around, but he's not within vision.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
It seems like Lilgun now might try to apply pressure to that tier 1 mid. Spawn.496, they'll be around to defend though. Pretty similar story between these two teams. Neither one is willing to really give that one up. So it does feel like Lilgun, they are not going to give up anytime soon. They're still sticking around. It's like the top and bot lane just do not exist with these two. XC learn? No, he won't commit the Diabolic Edict. He'll just back off to the triangle now. No need to rush.
And how often do you see a 19-minute game with a Leshrac in it, and both mid-tier 1s are still standing? Leshrac's tier 1 stands, the opposing team's tier 1 still stands. Just showing you how much both teams understand the importance of that lane and tower, committing the resources to keep that up. I think that does hurt Spawn.496 a little bit more. Again, if you consider the greed of Lilgun's draft, you have to also consider the fact that these heroes they have do clear jungle fast. TA can just melt the camps, Axe as well can just call them up, so they are getting a lot of value from that tower standing here.
That they are. Neither team budging at the moment. Lilgun, they may go for a big 5-man smoke up with the Blade Mail now available on 11. That could be a big game changer, especially against the Leshrac just kind of killing himself. 11 just needs the right call here. He'll see Ohio, but that's not quite the target. Not the one he wants. 2-3, he'll move in first. Get the vision, and there's your call. He does find the Grimstrip of red. He's in, but no, the arrow lands on the Mars, not allowing the speed to fly out, but nobody's dead yet. Now Ghost will rush in. Onto the X, they go 11. He's going to drop straight off the bat. 4-2-3 now is just melting to the damage of XC Learn. Look at that Diabolic Edict going. 4-2-3 with the rage up. It just doesn't matter. So much damage once this less shows. And Lilgun, they'll drop 3 for nothing.
That is huge for Spawn.496. That should enable them to finally melt this mid-tier 1 as well. And we were just talking about how well Lilgun was protecting that tower. They force a fight outside, they get caught out, they get punished, and now they're going to lose their biggest asset on the map. This is going to make it a lot harder for Sanctity to find that safe farm, along with getting some wealth going for 11. They're still in position here, keeping their heroes around, but they can't really force that fight. And Spawn.496, they're hitting their power spike, Mike. They've got the Yacha, they've got the Diffusal and Ghost. He's going straight to heart. Not even a Manta. He knows he just needs HP. He knows he just needs to be able to stand, sit through maybe a call, and from there you can just rip them apart, drain their mana, and have the cleanup come in from Exalern for damage.
That you do. That net worth lead now just really non-existent here for Lilgun. It's just a very, very slight net worth lead for the Dire. Again, nothing to write home about. Or Ghost, he is starting to really catch up in farm. And we just haven't felt any impact from Sanctity yet on this TA, it feels. He just hasn't gotten to a point where he can really commit to these fights and be confident that he can survive long enough to get the damage up.
Middle tower is under attack.
Still, they'll go back into mid-tier 1 tower. Lilgun, they're going to try again to just slowly chip away with Kishka. Ohio, though, he's just happy to frontline for the team. And that's going to force them back. They'll have to go elsewhere.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
You're looking bot, Sanctity's just standing there. He does have that fresh BKB up. It's a bit tough to leverage that without the blink, and now you have to deal with a Heart-on Ghost. So whether or not you have enough damage on that TA remains to be seen. The tower will melt. That is a trader willing to take. No, they back off from the TP, so they play it safe here.
Try and catch up, but they are a bit too late. They've even got an Arcane Rune available on the left track right now, John. This is very poor timing for Lilgun if they force this fight. Red, he's in again. He's found 11. That's your initiator. You can't afford for him to die like that. Another soul bind. It'll lock him down. He's gone straight off the bat without buyback into Sanctity. Just trying to TP out, but he can't make it. Oh boy.
Oh.
And that was a BKB just straight TP out, John. He wanted nothing to do with that.
Yeah, it was still not enough. Like, he rushed the BKB after the Desolator to kind of join fights. He doesn't join fights. So he lacks the mobility to jump through the camps without the blink. And when there is a fight, he's forced to BKB TP home because they didn't engage on Lilgun. They backed off. That's what was so strange about that back off there, Mike. They were in such a good position to just maybe bait in with a chorus, have 11 stand back, and come in with a counter initiation call. And instead, they reposition to a very awkward spot and allow Spawn.496 to kind of get the upper hand in setting themselves up, and they get punished. Spawn.496, great read. And they realize the retreat's a big opening for them. They capitalize on it. They take the bot tier 1. Ghost is just so big on this PL. And just Diffusal Yasha Heart. That's all he needs because the damage is still on Exalern because there's no pipe. There's nothing to mitigate that magic damage here.
Again, just back into that mid-tier 1. They refuse to allow Lilgun to even get close to it. To even think about taking that tier 1 mid-tower down as Kishka now was spotted. Ohio, he'll leave him be. Meanwhile, 4-2-3 is going to be fine with the Rage TP. And for Lilgun, they have at least forced rotations that lead to nothing for Spawn.496. So
oh, look at that,
definitely great news for them. But Roshan plus the E-Rune.
Yep, tradition.
Amazing.
Tradition, right? All day today. That's all we've been seeing. Roche opens up. There could be a good call play from 11, but he's a bit too far here, Mike. So it's like they will have to surrender this Roche. Not the fastest, but also not the slowest for the damage output coming out from Exelearn. And it does look like Lilgun are just not going to contest. They know it's happening. They did have that arrow to scout, but they just have no business being in pit. So how do you deal with 2 lives in Exelearn? Like the Leshrac is just a perfect hero for the Aegis because he gets fresh mana, he can spam all his spells again, he gets even more damage out with the more he stays alive. I just don't know if Lilgun's set up for it. It still boils down to the fact that your arrow combinations are cancelled off by Abaddon and your call combinations from Axe. It's just not amazing. Axe is he's just past that prime of big teamfight calls. Like, it can still happen, but it's so hard to pull off.
Ghost.
Dire's top
The tier 2 top they go. Mind you, the bot tier 2 has already been taken, so Lilgun will be directly trading. Thing is, Spawn.496, they may not stop. There's not really much of a reason to stop with the Aegis up. And with that net worth advantage finally their way, they will try, at least for the tier 3 it seems. Again, it won't take them very long with that Diabolic Edict up. See if Lilgun can force a defense. But there is not many buybacks available for them. You've got 3 and that's about it. Looks at Ghost though, he's going to TP out down to the bot lane, 4-2-3. He's going to try for the TP with the Rage, and it looks like Ghost is not even going to bother trying to hit him. So Ghost, he kind of leaves the top tier 3 to just be left till later.
Radiant
because he does not want to lose his own bot tier 3 for the sake of trading. No need for that. They'll come back another day.
I think the issue for Spawn.496 now is really just a BKB piercing stun. They need to have a way to stop a 4-2-3 when he does rage up. Something like a Basher, Abyssal could work, and that's still ways off for Ghost. Not really the ideal PL item, but he will go for the Scotty next, so a little bit more to pin down that sustain. Lilgun, they're still hitting some damage timing, some Sanctity. He skips the blink again. Did he... Okay, he has the blink coming in. All right. So he's got the blink and Chrysalis up, going for the Daedalus next. So he can use that BKB now. He can jump in, look for a good position to get some damage off, and start to clean up for the team if the opportunity opens up, Mike.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Just so good for Spawn.496. Lilgun maybe just having a bit too much fun over the holidays, I think, John. So one team looks like they were practicing, the other one maybe just partying. At least for now.
Is under attack.
Not that I can blame them, John. We were partying as well. You know, you and I were very lazy people.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I want to take this moment as well to appreciate the sponsorships on Spawn.496, especially Red. Banh Mi, he knows what's good, Mike. He knows what food is good.
I love me a banh mi. Love me a banh mi, John.
I would kill for a good sandwich like that. Still, you know what? Lilgun would kill for their towers to be up. They lose their mid tier 2. They are shoving in top. And again, 4-2-3 is just playing the split push game. So there is some pressure to kind of go back to. And 4-2-3 does some good damage on towers with its attack speed. So you can't just allow that to happen here.
Being really annoying as the spear comes out again, but the Rage TP is just there every time. It might be about time for Ghost to think about an Abyssal Blade, I think, John. So these kind of this split pushing going on, it's going to be very annoying for Spawn.496.
Yeah, they need to have a response for it. Like, the moment the PL leaves, I think Lilgun understands that Exelearn isn't comfy standing up front for his team, especially since they need the Mars there with his own stuns, kind of try to catch out the Lifestealer. The Lifestealer. So I think if 496 just send out the PL and have him deal with the Lifestealer instead, keep the Mars around to back up Exelearn's Leshrac, you could actually still push back. They will go for a smoke play on Spawn.496, not under any ward, so you might be able to get a good flank here if they do manage to scout out.
They're trying. In fact, pings are out towards the mid lane. 4-2-3. Now he's going to know not to go to the low ground. They do reveal themselves now, but 496 is going to try and force the retreat out from Lilgun. They'll at least get the Fortify out, but they are not backing yet. They've still got 50 seconds with the Aegis up, still towards the top side. Sanctity is split pushing the top tier 3 tower. So Spawn.496, they are still losing this trade. They need to make a choice. Are we pushing or are we defending? Well, right now they're just standing in the mid lane, so they do get a free tier 3 tower.
All fears
For the side Lilgun, they get away with it.
Yeah, this is not going the way Spawn.496 wants it to go. They don't have any quick travels as well, so they can't instantly respond and go back. And I think that hesitation is starting to cost them. This is a big opening for Lilgun. Just blowing up a tier 3 means that the lane's going to shove in a little bit more after a creep wave is cleared out. There's always going to be a bit of a natural push and no natural real defense from a tower on the high ground. And I think for Spawn.496, it goes back to that point, Mike. Abyssal has to come out. The Scotty's done. Abyssal's next. I think he might have been better off going for the Abyssal first, but it's not like he saw this possibility coming true on Ghost. So we'll see if the Abyssal comes out in a timely fashion. Once you do have that stun in play, having a Sanctity or 423 run up and split push like that should be much more punishable. But for Lilgun's part, they've done a great job in stalling out against an Aegis. Exelern only has 24 seconds left on the Aegis. Not much time left to actually do something on the high ground. And that is giving Lilgun much needed time to play catch up here.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Lilgun are doing a fantastic job. The thing is, once you get to that Abyssal Blade timing, it's not going to be that easy anymore. So you'll have the actual answer in stopping the Rage TP. But till then, you could just keep up the great work here if you're Lilgun. Thing is, I'm very sure they're very well aware that they just cannot fight this PL anymore. Like it's you could definitely kill him, but he's gonna have to be by himself for quite a while, I think. So Ghost, he's just 3.5k HP pool, very tanky, a lot of regen coming out. You've got to consider the fact that Ohio is going to be behind him the whole time with the Photic Shields and the Miscoil Hills and everything else. It's just a very tough time for Lilgun, but they are salvaging this game too. You could definitely agree on that.
Oh yeah, they're hanging on. They're starting to find some openings for themselves. I mean, this life stealer is really big. Mjolnir up, lots of damage for lots of right click. He is running up by himself. The scan does allow Spawn.496 to back off. So timely movement out from them as the game comes back to a stalemate. Aegis expires here, Mike. I feel like for Spawn.496, they're going to be the ones waiting for that next Roche, whereas Lilgun might be more confident playing outside. They know they've got an opening. They still have some strong combinations they could try to pull off. I think the main issue for Lilgun is the fact that 11 has been really brought down in priority and farm. Still doesn't have that BKB, and without that, the Axe does feel really squishy in the front lines.
They do. Lilgun, be careful. Kishka, I believe, was spotted out. Nice Spawn.496, but he's going to be able to just leap away and should be just fine. 423 again, and with the Rage TP out, is just very hard to deal with, so he'll be just fine. Red, though, still have a look around, might find 11. Mind you, Red is by himself at the moment, so he is a bit of a sitting duck. 11, though, is not going to make the jump in, and Red, he does actually TP out in time. Back towards his team, they might go for a 5-man. No smokes available, though, it seems. They'll just group up and make sure nobody ends up getting picked off. But Roshan, it's still quite a timing away. 496, they almost look a little bit unsure now of what they're doing.
No, I think they understand that they want to make plays. They need the Aegis for the high ground, so it's a dead period for them. And consider Lilgun, they've got a lot of damage on Sanctity, they've got a lot of damage coming through from 423. Their scaling cores are much greater in number, because they've got TA and Life Stealers. For Spawn.496, they only really have the PL. To an extent, I guess your Leshrac can also scale, but it's not exactly the same, because magic damage does drop off. So there's a bit of a timing window here for Spawn.496, and for Lilgun, if they just keep holding like this, they're kind of in the clear. I think they are happy enough with that split push that happened top, with a split push that's always happening bot. There's also the possibilities of going further with that split push, Mike. You could opt for Sanctity, getting the Ags down the line after this butterfly, and then I don't think you really have a response to that split push coming out with the traps.
To learn, he's found a target, but he's not going to be able to reach, even with the spider legs up. Kishka. Moonlight Shadow, he'll be able to run. Sanctity just keeping that farm up himself. Trying to get towards that butterfly timing. I mean, they have bought themselves so much space on Lilgun. Still, you are giving a lot of space to Ghost to boot, and he is still top of the net worth board. But I think, again, up until at least the dash shot, he's not really able to get too much done anymore. So just a very, very conservative game, and Roshan's going to be 2.5 minutes away, John, so
oh, God.
Bit of a wait for that one as well.
Yeah, it's a patience game now. I don't think Spawn.496 is going to look to really force the issue. Unless they somehow get a magical pickoff, like say a big pickoff on 423 while he's just kind of randomly farming. Not likely to happen, so probably going to have to wait for the Roshan respawn. Lilgun still doing a good job of keeping top lane constantly shoved in, forcing Spawn.496 to come back to respond. And again, just keeping the movement in check, buying time for the big greedy lineup to keep farming up. Again, it's 2 cores versus 1 down the line. There's a lot to have to consider here for Spawn.496 delaying this game further.
It's a time as well where you're going to start seeing these supports get their items up now, right? Like Kishka's got the Ags, Ace 12. I don't know what he's really working towards, but just with the Aether Lens and the Psychic Headband, you've got so much range that you don't really need much else. But there is going to be a smoke up now. 11 going to run right into Ohio, but the smoke is going to be broken. Not quite the target they want as the arena is down. They've got Kishka already, but the Fiend Grip is going to stop Red from going any further. But now the Soulbind going to lock a couple together, but it's not quite enough yet. Meanwhile, Sanctity on the left side ends up going down to Ghost. It's not a great team fight here for Lilgun. They're going to try and man up. 423 with the BKB just fighting Ghost one-on-one, but it's still not enough. Ghost, he's just so damn tanky. Just doppelganger through. There's your rage out now. Where's the help for 423? Well, there was the help, but he's been stunned up. 11, he's going to drop down to the left rack, and 423 needs to TP out. It's going to be a 4-for-1. What happened to Sanctity, John?
He was on the low ground. The rest of his team was on the high ground. They completely focused in on Mars and ignored their TA. It gave that opening to Spawn.496. So now, even if the Life Stealer runs away, the main damage dealer really is your TA. Your Life Stealer feels like an illusion clear with Mjolnir. It should open up the high ground push. Double damage running on Ghost as well. So no Roshan, Mike, but power should go in. In fact, that's still timely because Rosh is up in 4. You know, tradition still holds, but this push should be fast now with no Fortify up. With the Diabolic Edict running, they should be able to find a few racks here.
Oh, absolutely.
Middle barracks are under attack.
DD rune spawn around Roshan timing, just so you know, John. Roshan is up for anyone that doesn't believe us. It's always a DD rune every time. This time around, they decide for the mid racks rather than the Roshan, but they'll go back for it. It's no problem. More important, Ash is now available, so Ghost, he's not going to have to worry about that rage anymore, rather than just the rage TP. They'll go into the Roshan pit, shards to be up. I suppose you just give Red the shards here, right, on the Mars. The double speed is very valuable.
Yep. Gives you a lot. You already have the shards up in Learn, so he doesn't need it. I don't think PL shards is, you know, going to be too valuable, unless a certain pale horse is watching, but yeah, nah, it should be that.
Here we go, 423. He's going to try and delay this. Sanctity does jump in as well, trying to take down Red, but the Soulbind is there again, and now the arena, it's out. They've got the spear onto 11, and Sanctity's gone again. 423, how is he not getting bashed?
What?
Wait. How does he not get bashed?
That was a million hits.
Roshan got first hit bash shot. That's how unlucky Ghost got. He got first hit bashed on Roshan.
That is just unfortunate there. Still, big win for Spawn.496. This should allow them to, again, go into the high ground, clear out another set of racks. Lilgun, the game's getting harder and harder. Sanctity is just getting picked off in the middle of these fights. His positioning is tough to figure out, right? Like, it's very hard for him to find the angle because, again, they're playing off the back of a call, not something like Arena. So his area of plays is super small, and every single time, Spawn.496 is just ready. They get the good stunts off, they manage to burn down TA. She's not very tanky, even with BKB,
Radiant's bottom
and it
tower
becomes really
is under
manageable.
attack.
Look, your
Dire's
life stealer
top
again is not the
barracks
damage
has
dealer, it's the TA. Every single time they get control there, it can be a bit rough. They are starting to split push again, 4-3, but this is not something they need to respond to. They're going to get mega creeps here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're not going to go back to the defense now.
Radiant's
Ghost, he'll just keep
bottom
going onto that
tower
T3 tower.
bottom
Sanctity not
tower
opting to fire back yet. He's only got 10 seconds left for the respawn, but this could be the final team fight if Lilgun aren't too careful. Ghost again is just completely uncontested. Just not dying. Aegis is up to make matters worse, but they're going to go in with the blade mail out. Arrows off the mark. Now the spear there from Red. That'll lock one down. 4-2-3. He'll move in. He'll try and help out this team as the buybacks are going to come out for Lilgun. But what can they do and who are they aiming? Ghost, he'll keep rushing forward onto the bane down. That'll be another down. Meanwhile, Red, another arena hunter. Sanctity again. This TA, he just keeps getting caught out and Ghost will rush him. Ghost is somehow still alive. He might just drop down with the Aegis or maybe not. He'll keep going onto 4-2-3. Now 4-2-3, he can't get him. The Aegis is going to remain as Ghost. He will keep going, keep surviving, and Sanctity not again. Not the disarm. They'll back off for a little bit. They'll kite out, allow Ghost to reset, or will they? Red's in trouble now on the Mars, but Ghost, he does finally go down with the Aegis. Meanwhile, Lilgun on the sideline, just controlling up the Axe. They get the Hex out. They've got 11 down without buyback as Ghost now. He wants to put a little in this game right here, right now, as 4-2-3, and Sanctity's been called out another time. Oh, this 4-2-3 is completely surrounded, just trying to fight on his own. A great Fiend's Grip there from Ace 12, but where's your team, buddy? There is no teammates to help out. They nightmare him up. They're going to keep trying. Yeshka, yeah, he's been speared up. He's down. He'll commit another buyback, but now the Abyssal Blade, it's finally here for Ghost. He takes control over this Light Stealer. 4-2-3, BKB's up, but he's down. No buyback, they've got to call the GG. And Spawn.496, they pull off their first series victory up against Lilgun of all teams.
That is insanity. I don't think anyone would have expected that. Mike, we've had big upsets in the CDPC already. In Div 1, OB Neon trouncing T1.